So just following on from that and the differences between states, the national law and national regulations were meant to be fairly consistent across the country. But let's take, for example, an 80-place childcare centre. In New South Wales, we've had a requirement to have 4 degree qualified teachers for an 80-place centre, yet other states require only 1 or 1 and a part-time teacher. So maybe if we can talk about why this is and how this has contributed to the increased cost of service delivery in New South Wales compared to other states. And also, what have been the results of this? Have we produced better outcomes for children as a result of it? Or what's the reasoning behind, I guess?
Well, I mean, I guess when the changes came in, obviously it was about having consistency amongst the states. But for us to have the 4 that you speak about, we've had that since the late 90s. So it's been sort of 20 years in the making. And even when the regulations came in, I wasn't the minister then, so I wasn't part of the decision that was made, but as it has been explained to me, was that we already had that standard and that level of education in New South Wales, so we wanted to maintain that. That was the justification for keeping it where it is. And I think we should be proud of having quality in our services. I think that it's okay to say we want to have the qualified teachers, people working towards. We provide a lot of incentives in terms of scholarships to help people to upskill and to train, and I actually think that's something that we should be proud of in New South Wales.
But then the cost of the service for parents is the, I guess, where we have to find a balance. Or we've got a question up the back there.
Hi, my name's Sarah Mitchell. I'm a very small provider. I have a 38-place centre, and I also, in partnership, run a 49-place centre. So the fact that these ECT requirements are in place puts so much pressure on particularly small services like myself. The wages cost for me is enormous. Since the new regulations have come in, my wages have gone up by a third, which doesn't include workers' comp insurance, superannuation on my bottom line. These ECTs that we're supposed to find to be compliant are non-existent. If you're not prepared to just employ anyone, regardless of their ability, just to get yourself over the line to comply with these regulations, I don't see that as quality. And that's what a lot of services are having to do, because they're so desperate to be compliant that they will just take anyone, no matter how hopeless, incompetent they are. Because unfortunately the RTOs are allowing, and the unis are allowing people to get through the system to pump them out to meet needs. And I mean, the quality of people that we've had turn up for interviews have just, it's been diabolical. If they turn up for interviews and if they have a good enough grasp of English. I don't know how they've completed their university work, to tell you the truth. Their literacy skills are appalling. So when you talk about just having a qualified ECT, I'm just letting you know that what's out there isn't quality. I have Diploma in Cert 3 trained employees who have been on so much PD that I've sent them on that absolutely run rings around these ECTs. So I think like the reality is, while it might look good on paper, what's happening for us in the real world, it's not great. And that wages cost, I mean, now they've just changed the goalposts again so that every child, we have to meet educated child ratios now, so that no matter if children are sleeping, we still have to have educators in the rooms watching sleeping children. They can't be classed as using their programming time or on their lunch break or anything like that. So I've had to now put someone on for 4 hours a day through the middle of the day to meet yet another change in the regulations. It's like, I actually, for the first 5 years I had my service, sorry I'm I've got a lot to say.
Take the opportunity. It's good to
All right, so for the whole reason I got into early childhood is because I have a son with a disability, and I believe early intervention is key. I was told when my son was 2 that he would never go to a mainstream school, he would never attend a mainstream primary school, he would, you know, the future wasn't very bright for him. Fortunately for me, I was able to enrol him in an outstanding kindergarten, my Raleigh Road kindergarten. I fought tooth and nail for services for him. He just did his HSC last year and has full-time work. And I believe that that is in large part due to the encouragement and support that I received when he was very young. They allowed occupational therapists, speech therapists to go into the centre and work with the staff. That has saved the government thousands and thousands of dollars on his, spending on him later on. So anyway, back to bought my first centre, still worked in a high school, ran the centre, didn't draw a wage for the first 5 years, had a nervous breakdown because of the stress, being brutally honest here. Had to finally accept that I had to quit the high school and just work solely at my centre and started drawing a wage. I was drawing a Cert 3's wage. Right up until this year, I have not paid myself as a teacher, and I'm a teacher. And the only reason why is because I can't afford to. I cannot afford to do it. I'm not a big company, but what I do makes a huge difference. I have lots of other children like my son at my service, and because I'm my own boss, if they need a $5,000 wheelchair, I will go and buy them a $5,000 wheelchair. I'm not going to wait for some government body to take 12 months to approve something that's going to be out of date. So what looks great on paper and what you're talking about with regards to quality, can you please be aware that we are struggling? We're not all G8s, and there's a lot more people like me who are in it for the kids.
Can I just give you a classic example of this whole ECT, what I would call as a small operator? I've got 3 centres, debacle. So I have one of my centres is an 84 place. So by New South Wales standards, I need 4 ECTs. So I have 3 fully qualified ECTs who cost me an absolute fortune.
Cost the parents an absolute fortune.
And then they cost the parents an absolute fortune. So now my numbers are now requiring me to have my 4th. So I've advertised, I've interviewed, applicants don't turn up for interviews, I've offered employment to ECTs, but you just can't pay them enough. Because now they also, sorry?
You've got to pay way over.
Yeah, because now they have, the supply and demand factor for ECTs, the demand is this high and the supply is this low. Therefore, they are now demanding way above award, okay, which then always impacts families. So anyhow, I have 3 amazing diploma educators, one of who is now studying her ECT. I'll put in an application in January, late January, early February for a waiver, because that's my obligation under regulations to put in a waiver. A waiver to me is a bureaucratic piece of red tape that takes up a lot of my time that no one's paying for. I have to pay $110 for that waiver. I have to fill in, reply to many different emails of further information. So the process, if I was to actually cost label that process for me as an operator, could cost between, I don't know, nearly $1,000 just to lodge the waiver. Now, I lodged that waiver. They wanted another 10 pieces of information, of which I replied with 9, and an email which said, I cannot get you the diploma's uni student portal of all the subjects she's enrolled in, because that was one of the specs. And I get that. You guys want to know that she's officially enrolled. So I've sent the enrolment, I've sent her receipt, I've sent everything else, but the university had a failment on their website, student portal, no access. She could not get that information, so I made it very clear on the email, I will get this to you as soon as I can. 14 days lapsed, she still did not have that information. She sent it to me on the Tuesday night. When I got back to work on the Wednesday morning, I went onto the portal, you're logged out, your 14 days has passed. You have to redo that whole process. So another $1,000 later to relodge the process, and then some. And now I have to justify, which is going to take me another $500 in my wages of time, why I haven't employed an ECT. So my question is, why should I have to prove to a government, it's my business, I'm a private operator, why do I need to verify to government, with all due respect, why my diploma, who is providing such an exceptional educational service for my families and my children, and I can get referrals from local schools who are so pleased with this diploma's preschool program, why do I need to verify that she is worthy more so of some strange applicant coming through a job ad? I have to provide job statistic ads, I have to verify at least two agencies I've used, I have to provide interview information back. Like, what for? Is there not any appreciation for us as quality educators? My centres are all exceeding standards, so therefore I know what I'm doing. Why do I need to spend more of my time to verify why this diploma, studying her degree, is as equally qualified, if not more, than someone who, for me, a university degree is a piece of paper. And we see it as operators. If you ever asked us, if you ever did a statistical survey and said to operators, please tell us the value of your diploma educators, and please tell us the value of your early childhood educators, and please tell us the value of your diploma educators who have studied their ECT on top of that, they'll tell you the most valuable educator in order, diploma who studied her ECT, diploma, and ECT way on the bottom.
Okay.
Look, the only thing I'll say, I'm not going to be able to give you the answers that you want today, but thank you for being so honest with me about it, because that's why I'm here, and it's good to have these relationships with organisations like the ACA, because we need to speak frankly. And as I said at the beginning, if I as Minister don't know what is happening day to day and where you're having your frustrations and where you're having your issues, then I can't do my job properly. So thank you for being so open with me about your concerns around this space.
I think it's really great to be able to explain and talk about the issues.